The quantum sensors aboard the Lunar Research Station Beta hadn't registered anything unusual in their 15 years of operation. That changed on a quiet Thursday in March 2189, when Dr. Sarah Chen noticed an anomalous reading that would alter humanity's destiny forever. The signal was faint but distinctive, a ripple in space-time that shouldn't exist according to known physics. "Director Walsh, you need to see this." Sarah's voice trembled as she transmitted the data to Earth's Unified Space Command. Within hours, similar readings appeared at monitoring stations across the solar system. Something was coming. Admiral James Torres stood before the United Earth Council, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the approaching anomalies. "Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear is classified at the highest levels. For the past 30 years, we've been tracking these signals at the edge of our detection range. They're ships, massive ones, belonging to what we call the Nexus Coalition." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Councillor Patel's voice cut through the chaos. "And you're only telling us this now, Admiral." Torres activated another hologram, revealing a massive vessel unlike anything humanity had publicly created. "Because now we're ready. Project Prometheus wasn't just about advancing our space capabilities. We knew they were coming. We've been preparing." The vessel in the hologram was a masterpiece of human engineering. 2 kilometers long, with a design that defied conventional spaceship architecture, it bore little resemblance to the utilitarian vessels of Earth's space fleet. Its hull was covered in hexagonal plates that seemed to shift and ripple, adapting to unseen forces. "The HMS Prometheus," Torres continued, "represents everything we've learned since detecting the first signals. It's not just a warship. It's humanity's answer to a universe that's far more dangerous than we've let the public believe." Dr. Chen, now stationed aboard the Prometheus as its chief science officer, studied the quantum readings with growing concern. The Nexus Coalition vessels were approaching faster than predicted, using a form of propulsion that bent the fabric of space itself. But humanity hadn't been idle in their preparations. The Prometheus housed technologies that would seem like magic to most of Earth's population. Quantum-entangled communication arrays that allowed instantaneous coordination across vast distances. Adaptive hull plating that could reconfigure itself to counter any form of attack. And at its heart, a power core that harnessed the energy of artificial microscopic black holes. Captain Elena Rodriguez walked the corridors of her ship, checking on final preparations. The crew of 5,000 had been chosen from every nation on Earth, selected not just for their skills, but for their ability to think creatively in impossible situations. They would need every ounce of that creativity soon. "Status report," Rodriguez commanded as she entered the bridge, a cathedral-like space dominated by holographic displays showing real-time data from across the solar system. "Coalition fleet will reach Pluto's orbit in 72 hours, Captain," Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen reported. "We're detecting 27 capital ships and approximately twice that number in support vessels." Rodriguez nodded, her expression grim but determined. "And the quantum signature analysis confirms our worst fears," Dr. Chen added, joining them on the bridge. "Their technology is centuries ahead of our public capabilities. The energy readings from their smallest ships exceed anything in our civilian fleet." But that was exactly what they had planned for. The Prometheus wasn't built to match the Coalition's technology. It was designed to change the rules of engagement entirely. Its adaptive systems could learn and evolve during battle, its quantum eye processing information faster than any organic mind, and its modular design allowing it to transform its configuration on the fly. As the Coalition fleet approached, humanity's greatest secret prepared for war. But Captain Rodriguez knew something her adversaries didn't. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship. It was a testament to humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to face impossible odds with unwavering determination. The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity would stand as equals among the stars or become just another conquered species in the Coalition's expanding empire. As Rodriguez looked at her crew, She saw not fear but resolve. They had trained for this moment their entire careers, carrying the weight of a secret that had shaped human development for 3 decades. "All hands," Rodriguez's voice echoed through the ship. "This is your captain. In 3 days, we face an enemy that believes they know everything about us. They've studied our public transmissions, analyzed our visible technology, and decided we're easy prey. They don't know about the Prometheus. They don't know what humanity is truly capable of. Let's show them." Throughout the ship, crews ran final checks on systems that rewrote the laws of physics. In the quantum engineering bay, technicians monitored the artificial singularities that powered the vessel. Fighter pilots reviewed combat scenarios against ships that could teleport across space. And in the tactical center, officers planned strategies that would have seemed like science fiction just decades ago. The greatest test in human history approached, and aboard the Prometheus, humanity's best prepared to prove that ingenuity and determination could overcome even the most advanced alien technology. The time for secrecy was ending. The time for humanity to show its true strength had begun. The Prometheus's quantum training deck hummed with energy as Lieutenant Maya Santos guided her fighter through another impossible scenario. Her neural interface translated thought into action faster than physical controls ever could, the simulated craft dancing between enemy weapons fire that bent space itself. "Run it again," she commanded the AI, sweat beading on her forehead. The scenario reset, this time with the alien ships using different tactical patterns. No pilot had ever faced actual combat against coalition forces, but the quantum predictive systems aboard Prometheus had generated millions of possible combat scenarios. In engineering, Chief Marcus Wong supervised the final calibration of the adaptive hull systems. The hexagonal plates that covered the Prometheus weren't just armor. They were individual quantum computers, each capable of analyzing incoming threats and reconfiguring their molecular structure in response. "Show me the latest absorption tests," Wong ordered, studying the holographic readouts. The plates had successfully adapted to every form of weapons fire they could simulate, but coalition technology might have surprises they hadn't anticipated. Captain Rodriguez stood in the ship's tactical center, surrounded by 3-dimensional projections of the approaching coalition fleet. Their formation was arrogant, showing no concern for possible resistance. According to their intelligence, the coalition had conquered dozens of species, each more technologically advanced than humanity appeared to be. They're expecting pre-FTL civilization technology, Commander Sarah Chen observed, manipulating the hologram to highlight energy signatures. Their ships are running with minimal shields, weapons in standby configuration. Rodriguez nodded grimly. That's about to change. Status of the Quantum Entanglement Network. "All nodes are synchronized, Captain," Lieutenant Commander Patel reported from his station. "We can coordinate with Earth Command without any detectable transmissions." The Prometheus represented humanity's greatest technological leap, not just in weapons and defenses, but in how it processed information. Every system was connected through quantum entanglement, allowing instantaneous communication and coordination across the entire ship. There was no lag between detection and response, no delay between command and action. In the medical bay, Dr. Yuki Tanaka monitored the crew's neural interfaces. The direct mind-machine connection was essential for operating the ship's advanced systems, but it also carried risks. "Neural load is within acceptable parameters," she reported. "The crew is adapting to the quantum processing speed better than projected." The ship's AI, nicknamed Atlas, managed the overwhelming flow of data from millions of sensors and systems. Unlike traditional artificial intelligence, Atlas operated on quantum principles, existing in a state of constant probability rather than binary certainty. It could anticipate problems before they occurred, adapting the ship's systems proactively rather than reactively. Quantum signature spike. The alert came from the sensor array. Coalition scout ship detected at the edge of Neptune's orbit. Rodriguez straightened in her command chair. "This is what we've trained for. All hands to battle stations. Lieutenant Santos, Launcher Squadron. Maya's fighter squadron deployed from the Prometheus's quantum hangars, their ships appearing to phase through solid matter thanks to probability manipulation technology. The Coalition scout wouldn't detect them. Their quantum state rendered them invisible to conventional sensors. The alien vessel was sleek and predatory, its hull gleaming with an otherworldly metal that seemed to absorb light. It moved with impossible grace, using technology that humanity had only theorized about before the Prometheus project began. Hold position, Rodriguez ordered. Let them think they're undetected. Atlas analyzed their scan patterns. The quantum AI processed the alien ship's behavior, learning its protocols and capabilities. Every piece of data would be crucial for the coming battle. The scout ship continued its survey, its powerful sensors probing the solar system, but failing to detect the quantum-shifted human vessels shadowing it. In engineering, Wang's team monitored the hull's response to the alien scans. The adaptive plates shifted their quantum state in perfect synchronization, becoming transparent to the specific frequencies the Coalition ship employed. It was a dance of technology and physics that humanity had spent decades perfecting. "They're launching something," Chen reported, her eyes fixed on the sensor readings. Small objects deployed from the scout ship, spreading out in a complex pattern. "Probe droids," Rodriguez identified them. "Standard Coalition protocol according to our intelligence. Maya, your squadron is cleared to intercept. Show them what humanity can do, but make it look improvised. We don't want to reveal our full capabilities yet." The quantum fighters shifted back into normal space, appearing to the Coalition sensors as crude but surprisingly effective human vessels. Maya led her squadron in an attack pattern that seemed chaotic, but was precisely calculated by Atlas to demonstrate just enough skill to worry the aliens without revealing their true technology level. The probe droids never stood a chance. Maya's squadron destroyed them with conventional weapons, their quantum systems remaining hidden. The Coalition scout ship immediately reversed course, accelerating away with a burst of spatial distortion. "They took the bait," Rodriguez announced with satisfaction. "They'll report that humanity has basic space combat capabilities, enough to be interesting, but nothing that would warrant changing their invasion plans." Throughout the Prometheus, crews continued their preparations with renewed purpose. The brief encounter had confirmed their theories about Coalition technology and tactics. More importantly, it had proven that humanity's quantum systems could remain undetected. "All hands," Rodriguez addressed the crew. That was just the beginning. The Coalition thinks they're about to face a primitive species taking its first steps into space. Instead, they're about to encounter humanity at its most ingenious and determined. When they come in force, we'll be ready. The Prometheus continued its silent vigil at the edge of the solar system, its crew honing their skills, and its systems learning from every scrap of data. The real test was still to come, but humanity had thrown down its first challenge to the galaxy's dominant power. The forge of war was heating up, and in its fires, humanity would prove itself ready for the stars. The Coalition fleet emerged from their spatial distortions near Jupiter's orbit, their massive ships casting long shadows across the gas giant's swirling storms. 47 capital ships, each bristling with weapons that could crack a planet's crust. Their support vessels numbered in the hundreds, forming attack patterns that had broken the defenses of countless civilizations. "They're right where we want them," Captain Rodriguez commented, studying the tactical display aboard the Prometheus. The quantum eye Atlas had predicted this exact approach vector. The Coalition always struck from a position that maximized their gravitational advantage. What they didn't know was that humanity had spent years preparing Jupiter's orbital space. Quantum-shifted satellites monitored every fluctuation in space-time, while hidden antimatter mines waited in precisely calculated positions. "All hands, battle stations," Rodriguez's voice echoed through the ship. "This is what we've trained for. Remember, let them think they have the upper hand, until they don't." The Coalition's opening move was predictable, an overwhelming display of force meant to shock their primitive opponents into submission. Their lead ships fired a barrage of energy weapons that lit up space like artificial suns, the beams powerful enough to vaporize conventional warships. But the Prometheus wasn't there. The quantum drives engaged, shifting the massive ship through probability states faster than light could travel. To the Coalition's sensors, it would appear as if their target had simply ceased to exist, only to reappear behind their formation. Fire Pattern Alpha, Rodriguez commanded. The Prometheus's weapon systems activated, but not the conventional armaments the Coalition could detect. Instead, quantum-entangled particles fired in precise patterns, bypassing shields to interact directly with the alien ship's power cores. 3 Coalition destroyers suddenly lost power, their crews unable to understand how their advanced systems had been neutralized by what they perceived as an inferior species. Before they could adapt, Lieutenant Santos led her fighter squadron through the gap in their formation. Quantum states synchronized. Maya reported as her fighters executed maneuvers that should have been impossible, beginning attack run. The human fighters seemed to phase through solid matter, appearing inside the Coalition ship's shield perimeters. Their weapons weren't the crude missiles the aliens expected, but focused beams of accelerated probability that caused localized breakdowns in spatial coherence. In engineering, Chief Wong orchestrated the Prometheus's adaptive defense systems. The hexagonal hull plates analyze each Coalition weapon impact, learning and evolving. Their energy weapons are operating on 11 different quantum frequencies, he reported. Atlas is calculating countermeasures. The Coalition fleet's formation began to break down as more ships reported inexplicable system failures. Their commanders had expected a simple subjugation mission against a pre-FTL civilization. Instead, they faced an enemy that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. They're adapting, Commander Chen warned, monitoring the quantum signatures. 3 of their capital ships are modifying their shield frequencies. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Just as we expected. Atlas, initiate Protocol Omega. The quantum AI executed its most complex battle program. The Prometheus's hull began to ripple, the hexagonal plates shifting in patterns that mimicked the surface of a liquid metal. Energy weapons that struck the ship were not just absorbed but redirected, turned back against their sources. Coalition commanders watched in growing horror as their own weapons fire began to target their ships, guided by quantum calculations that predicted exactly where each vessel would attempt to evade. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Puttle reported, "we're detecting massive power buildups in the remaining capital ships. They appear to be preparing their primary weapons." The Coalition's desperation tactic, planet-killing weapons that could reduce worlds to asteroid fields. They had used them before against species that proved more troublesome than expected. Now they'll see what humanity can really do, Rodriguez declared. All hands, prepare for full quantum transformation. The Prometheus's true nature was revealed as its entire structure began to shift. The ship didn't just change configuration. It altered its fundamental existence, spreading across multiple quantum states simultaneously. To the Coalition's sensors, it would appear as if their single opponent had become dozens of ships, each operating with perfect coordination. Maya's fighter squadron executed their part of the plan flawlessly, their smaller craft using the chaos to plant quantum disruption devices on key Coalition vessels. These devices didn't explode or destroy. They simply changed the probability of systems continuing to function. The Coalition fleet's command structure crumbled as ships began to lose power, weapons failed to fire, and navigation systems reported impossible sensor readings. Their rigid tactical doctrine had no protocols for an enemy that could manipulate the fabric of reality itself. "They're retreating," Chen announced as the first Coalition ships began emergency spatial jumps. "Their formation is completely broken." Rodriguez watched as humanity's would-be conquerors fled in disarray, leaving behind disabled ships and shattered preconceptions about Earth's technological capabilities. "Send the message," she ordered. A quantum transmission reached every Coalition vessel, its contents precisely calculated by Atlas to achieve maximum psychological impact. "You assumed we were primitive. You thought our technology was crude. Now you understand. Humanity doesn't follow your rules. We make our own. This was your only warning. Return, and you'll discover exactly how far we've advanced, while letting you think we were defenseless. The Battle of Jupiter ended as the last coalition ship vanished into spatial distortion, retreating faster than they had arrived. The Prometheus's crew celebrated their victory, but Rodriguez knew this was just the beginning. They'll be back, she told her bridge crew, and they'll bring everything they have. But now they know that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We're something they've never encountered before. A civilization that turns secrecy and ingenuity into weapons more powerful than their advanced technology. The quantum sensors detected the last traces of coalition energy signatures disappearing into deep space. Humanity had won its first major battle among the stars not through brute force, but through decades of careful preparation and the ability to think beyond conventional limits. The message would spread through coalition space. The humans were not what they appeared to be. They were far, far more dangerous. 2 weeks after the Battle of Jupiter, the Prometheus prowled through the darkness between stars, its quantum systems allowing it to track the coalition fleet's retreat. The ship's adaptive hull absorbed the faint light of distant suns, rendering it virtually invisible even to advanced sensors. Analysis of coalition communications complete, Commander Chen reported, studying data streams decoded by Atlas. Their command structure is fracturing. Several member species are questioning the wisdom of continuing the campaign against Earth. Captain Rodriguez stood at the tactical display, watching quantum probability maps of coalition space. "Show me their primary staging area," she ordered. The hologram shifted, revealing a massive space station orbiting a red dwarf star. "Their arrogance works in our favor," Lieutenant Santos observed from her station. "They built their forward base assuming no primitive species could ever reach it. No stealth systems, minimal early warning capability." The Coalition's empire had expanded unchecked for centuries, absorbing or destroying any civilization they encountered. Their technological superiority had bred a dangerous complacency, one that humanity was about to exploit. Atlas has identified 3 distinct factions within their leadership, Chen continued. The dominant group still wants to crush Earth to maintain their authority, but others are advocating for a more cautious approach. There's even a small faction suggesting diplomatic contact. Rodriguez smiled. "Perfect. Humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to turn our enemies against themselves. Prepare for Operation Shadowfall." Throughout the Prometheus, crews readied themselves for their most daring mission yet. The ship's quantum systems had been gathering data on coalition technology since their first encounter, learning their protocols and frequencies. Chief Wang's engineering team had made breakthrough after breakthrough, reverse engineering captured coalition technology and integrating it with their quantum systems. "The adaptive hull can now perfectly mimic coalition energy signatures," he reported. "As far as their sensors are concerned, we'll look exactly like one of their heavy cruisers." The plan was audacious, the kind of strategy that the Coalition, with their rigid military doctrine, would never expect. The Prometheus would penetrate the heart of their territory not through force, but through deception and precision. "Lieutenant Santos, prepare your squadron for deep infiltration," Rodriguez commanded. "Remember, we're not here to destroy their infrastructure. We're here to show them that nowhere in their empire is beyond our reach." Maya's fighters launched silently, their quantum states synchronized with the Prometheus. To any observer, they would appear to be standard coalition patrol craft. The human pilots had spent countless hours studying coalition flight patterns, learning to mimic their formations perfectly. The Prometheus approached the coalition staging area, its transponder broadcasting codes extracted from disabled ships during the Jupiter battle. Chief Wang's modifications proved perfect. Coalition patrol ships exchanged routine acknowledgments, never suspecting that an enemy vessel had penetrated their security. "Multiple capital ships detected in dry dock," Paddle reported, including their flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Security protocols at minimum levels. Rodriguez nodded. Begin Phase 1. Let's introduce some chaos into their ordered universe. Throughout the massive Coalition station, quantum infiltration devices planted by Maya's squadron began their work. Rather than obvious sabotage, they created subtle malfunctions and communications errors. Supply manifests changed without explanation. Patrol schedules randomly reassigned. Security systems reported phantom intruders. The Coalition's command structure, already strained by their defeat at Jupiter, began to crack under the pressure. Different factions accused each other of sabotage. Long-buried rivalries between member species surfaced as trust broke down. Their quantum communications network is compromising, Chen announced with satisfaction. Atlas is inserting our prepared disinformation packages directly into their command channels. The Coalition's greatest strength, their unified command structure, became their greatest weakness. As contradictory orders and false intelligence reports spread through their network, their ability to coordinate a response to Earth collapsed. Energy spike. Patel's warning came just as a Coalition warship dropped out of spatial distortion nearby. They're charging weapons. But Rodriguez remained calm. Hold position. Let's see if our psychological warfare has worked. The Coalition ship, instead of attacking, transmitted a recognition code, one that identified it as belonging to the faction advocating diplomatic contact. They're requesting secure communications, Chen reported, surprise evident in her voice. This is Commander Vextel of the Coalition vessel Light of Reason. The transmission began. We know you're here, humans. We know what you're doing. And we want to talk. Rodriguez exchanged glances with her bridge crew. This was an unexpected development, but one that could be turned to their advantage. Maintain quantum camouflage, she ordered. Let's hear what they have to say. Your victory at Jupiter was illuminating, Vextel continued. But more impressive is your current operation. You could have destroyed this facility, killed thousands. Instead, you chose to demonstrate something far more powerful, that our technology, our security, our very way of life is built on assumptions that you've proven false. The commander's next words confirmed that humanity's strategy had worked perfectly. There are those among us who believe the Coalition must change. Your species has shown us that technological superiority alone is meaningless without innovation, without the ability to think beyond established doctrine. Track their quantum signature, Rodriguez whispered to Chen. Make sure this isn't a trap. But Atlas had already confirmed the transmission's authenticity. This was a genuine fracture in the Coalition's power structure. Perhaps, Rodriguez replied to Vextel, allowing the Prometheus to partially decrypt its quantum camouflage. It's time for your Coalition to evolve. Humanity doesn't seek war or dominion. We simply refuse to be dominated. As the human ship revealed itself, Coalition sensors finally registered its true nature. The staging area erupted in chaos as different factions argued over how to respond. But the Prometheus had already accomplished its mission. The hunters had become the hunted, and the Coalition would never be the same. The Grand Council chamber of the Coalition's central authority hadn't seen such chaos in centuries. Representatives from 100 species argued as reports of the human infiltration spread through their empire. The Prometheus had vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared, leaving behind a fractured alliance and countless questions. Order. We will have order. Supreme Commander Xarketh's voice boomed through the chamber. The massive alien's crystalline exoskeleton glittered under the chamber's lights. The humans must be destroyed before more worlds question our authority. But the political landscape had shifted. Commander Vextel stood, his more delicate frame a stark contrast to Xarketh's warrior build. The humans have proven themselves beyond anything we've encountered. They could have destroyed our staging area, crippled our fleet. Instead, they showed restraint and ingenuity that surpasses our own. In the shadows of a distant nebula, the Prometheus waited. Captain Rodriguez and her crew monitored the Coalition's debate through their quantum intelligence network. Atlas processed the incoming data, calculating probabilities and outcomes. They're mobilizing their remaining fleet, Commander Chen reported. 17 capital ships, plus support vessels. But something's different. They're not moving as one force. Rodriguez studied the tactical display. The coalition fleet was indeed splitting, with ships clearly aligning with different factions. Their once perfect formation discipline had dissolved into chaos. "Captain," Lieutenant Patel's voice was urgent. "We're detecting massive spatial distortions. Multiple ships emerging from quantum space." The void lit up as a new fleet appeared. But these weren't coalition vessels. Their design was organic, flowing, completely alien to both human and coalition architecture. The Nomad Consensus. Chen breathed in amazement. "We thought they were just legends. Stories the coalition used to frighten their member species." The Nomads had been the coalition's first victims centuries ago, supposedly destroyed, but actually forced into exile. Now they had returned, drawn by humanity's successful resistance. "Incoming transmission," Patil announced, from both the Coalition Council chamber and the Nomad fleet. Rodriguez straightened in her command chair. "Put them through." The holographic display split, showing both Supreme Commander Xarketh and a being of swirling energy that represented the Nomad consciousness. The collision of three civilizations, one built on dominance, one on survival, and one on innovation, had reached its crucial moment. "You've corrupted the natural order," Xarketh accused, his crystalline features rigid with anger. "Primitive species must be controlled, guided by their betters." The Nomad's response came as patterns of light and emotion that Atlas translated. "We watched, waited, as humanity faced our ancient oppressors. You achieved in months what we could not in centuries. You didn't just resist, you changed them." Rodriguez's reply was measured, calculated for maximum impact. "The natural order isn't about control, Commander. It's about adaptation. Humanity stayed hidden, learned, prepared, not because we were primitive, but because we understood something you forgot long ago. True power comes from innovation, not domination." Lies. Xarketh moved to signal his loyal ships to attack, but froze as quantum alerts blared throughout Coalition space. On every world, in every facility, human quantum infiltration devices activated simultaneously, not to destroy or disable, but to reveal. "Your empire," Rodriguez continued, "is built on technology you barely understand. You conquered and copied, but never innovated. Those quantum signatures you're detecting. We could shut down every system in Coalition space. Instead, we're offering something else: evolution." The Prometheus decloaked, but not alone. Across Coalition space, quantum ripples revealed dozens of human vessels that had been hidden in plain sight. Not warships, but research vessels, humanitarian ships, diplomatic crafts, all powered by humanity's quantum technology. "Impossible," Xarketh whispered, seeing the true extent of human infiltration. The Nomad consciousness pulsed with approval. "They surpassed even our understanding of quantum mechanics. The Coalition's reign of stagnation must end." In the council chamber, more representatives sided with Vextel's faction. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity had outmaneuvered them, not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking. "You face a choice," Rodriguez addressed the Coalition Council. "Continue your path of conquest and face both humanity and the returned Nomads, or embrace change. Join us in true exploration and innovation. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us, but only if we move forward together." The next hours brought rapid changes. Xarketh and his hardline supporters were stripped of power. Vextal's reformist faction gained control, supported by the Nomads and humanity's demonstration of quantum supremacy. 1 month later, Captain Rodriguez stood in the same council chamber, but the atmosphere had transformed. Representatives from Earth, the Coalition worlds, and the Nomad Consensus gathered to sign the Galactic Concordat, a new alliance based on mutual respect and shared innovation. As she watched the proceedings, Rodriguez reflected on humanity's journey. They had faced extinction and emerged not just victorious, but as architects of a new galactic order. The Prometheus had proved that humanity's greatest weapons were never their technology, but their ability to think differently, to adapt, and to turn potential enemies into allies. In the space around the Council world, Coalition and human ships ran joint exercises, sharing knowledge and techniques. Lieutenant Santos led training sessions where pilots of all species learned to think beyond their conventional doctrines. Chief Wong collaborated with Coalition engineers, combining their advanced technology with human innovation. The galaxy was entering a new age, and humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest, but through the very qualities that made them human: creativity, adaptability, and the wisdom to know when to fight and when to extend a hand in friendship. The quantum sensors that had first detected the Coalition threat now monitored a galaxy filled with possibilities. Humanity had not just survived first contact, they had transformed it into an opportunity for all species to grow beyond their limitations. As the Prometheus prepared for its next mission, this time a joint expedition of exploration with Coalition and Nomad ships, Rodriguez gave an order that would have seemed impossible just months ago: set course for the unknown. Let's see what humanity and our new allies can discover together.